Welcome to the PharmaVOICE one-on-one video program, and a thank you to PRA Health Sciences for its support of a three-part series, The ABCs of Digital Health, a data-led approach, a better patient journey, and clinical research simplified. Christina Fawcett, Senior Director of Operations and Real-World Solutions, Digital Health, will discuss the B in the series, a better patient journey. Hi, Christina.
Hi, Taren. Thank you so much for having me today.
It's our pleasure. So let's get started. Christina, what are some common pitfalls sponsors and CROs face when designing research that includes digital components?
That's a great question. So using technology like digital components often seems like a quick and easy win, especially in the midst of a pandemic, but it's not a one-size-fits-all solution, and it really shouldn't be employed in every scenario. So not all endpoints, and not all study designs for that matter, are really suited for technology and digital research. So implementing virtual research, while it can have a lot of benefits, such as expanding your reach of patients to those who otherwise wouldn't have access to research opportunities, reducing cost, increasing productivity for not having to drive back and forth to a doctor's office, and also being able to collect real-time data directly from a source. But the inclusion of digital components is often an afterthought. So you think, where can I layer technology onto my already existing study design? But that's a surefire way to fail your research participants, because technology really needs to be considered simultaneous to the development of a study design, and it needs to be operationally feasible. So when we look at a patient pathway from start to finish and where those digital touchpoints exist, we want to consider real-world use cases. So how does it fit into how these patients exist in reality? Test it yourself, because if it's difficult for you to use, it's going to be difficult for anyone to use. And then determine where we think that those digital touch points are going to enhance the patient experience. So I think that we often stumble because we think that technology should replace human touch, but it really shouldn't. It should augment it. It should be an enabler. And I think we need to understand that in virtual study designs, there are still people that we may not reach using technology, those that don't have access to it, and that can limit trial participation. So while it's not a perfect solution, certainly not yet, we're getting there. And I think that when you consider all of those items, that you're going to be more likely to design a more successful study.
I love that idea of the human touch in terms of technology and making sure that it is patient friendly. So let's talk about how PRA is implementing technology in a patient friendly way.
Yeah, so I think it's really important to integrate the study into the technology that already exists in a patient's daily life. So when we use smartphones and tablets, most people are already using those devices 3 to 4 hours a day on average. So it helps to keep people more engaged and to be more compliant. But when you're talking about providing devices, picking the right device as a provision is really important. I can tell you that, things as simple as how easy is it to charge, what's the battery life, how easy is it to extract data from those devices, and does it look good? Does it feel good when you're wearing it? I mean, these are all really important insights that, patients have, because they are going to be adding this to their lives. I also think that supporting patients with technology is really important, and it's critical to success, because you can provide different options for tech support, like a chatbot or a trained call center, because some people want to hear a human voice on the other side of the line. But that can really help patients feel more comfortable with the tools that you're providing, and also in using any sort of digital components. In my experience, the number one failure when you're using devices and digital tools is not providing the proper support, and it can cause patients to fatigue, to get frustrated, to burn out, and then you lose data and often have higher dropout rates.
So given all of those concerns and challenges and opportunities, how can CROs help alleviate patient concerns and misconceptions about participating in virtual research?
That's a great question. So the best way to design research, all research, in my opinion, is to understand the patient's perspective. And with virtual research, we're still learning. It's still fairly new, and there's still a lot of insight that's yet to be had. So historically, we've told patients exactly what we want them to do instead of asking them what works best for them. What tools are they already using? And listening to the patient voice is really invaluable. We have a study ongoing right now where at the end, we ask our patient volunteers what their experience was. How satisfied were they with using these tools? And we're going to use those insights to improve future study designs. Many of the patient-centric questions that you typically ask yourself in a normal clinical trial are the same that you'd ask yourself in a virtual study, but there are additional components when you're doing virtual research about data privacy and data access. And it's really important that we are transparent about what data we're collecting, who has access to it, what we're using it for. That's really important to patient volunteers who are participating in digital research. So we can provide informational materials, websites, educational tools, but adding that component to the consent conversation is so important. You know, with the advent of telemedicine, I think, our industry asked, can you still maintain a trusted patient-physician relationship in a virtual setting? And the overwhelming response, I think, has been yes, because of the novel coronavirus pandemic, it's been born out of necessity that we needed to really adopt telemedicine, and we had to create a way to engage with patients. And it's been shown to be equally as effective in building those human-centric conversations. And that's significant because the comfort level of physicians will have a significant influence on the comfort level of the patients. And that applies to digital tools as well. We can't ask physicians and coordinators to endorse something that they're not comfortable with or that they don't understand. So we have to give them the support as well. And then finally, I just want to mention the importance of giving data back to patients. So this was highlighted as a key component to the 21st Century Cures Act. And not all study participants get direct benefit to trial participation. So in my opinion, I think it's one of the most important pieces that we might be missing. Patients have a right to have access to their data, and it's our responsibility to find a simple and timely way to get it to them.
Christina, thanks so much for discussing how we can make the patient journey better. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. It was my pleasure.